we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. In fact, encountering defeat may be necessary so we can know who we are. Life is not a straight path covered in roses where every step leads us to success. Sometimes it is like a vast ocean with fierce waves and sudden storms that can capsize any boat. But what matters is not how many times we are sunk by the waves, but whether, after each sinking, we have the courage to rise up and keep steering. Failure is a stern but incredibly honest teacher. Success often makes us bask in our own glory, while failure quietly holds up a mirror to reflect the weaknesses, fears, and limits we never realized we had. When every door seems to close, when our efforts do not bring the expected results, that is when the soul is tested most severely. We begin to ask ourselves who we are, what we truly want, and whether we are ready to keep walking, even when our feet are weary. Many view failure as an end, a verdict proving they lack the capacity to go further. But in reality, failure is only a comma in the book of life. A seed that wants to become a mighty tree must spend days buried deep in the darkness of the earth. A brilliant diamond must endure immense pressure over millions of years to shine. Likewise, humans do not grow through easy days, but through the falls that teach them to stand up as a stronger version of themselves. There are wounds that do not weaken us, but become deep-etched lines of experience and wisdom. There are tears that are not a sign of defeat, but proof that we dared to fight with all our might for something meaningful. Strong people are not those who never break, but those who know how to pick up their broken pieces, put them back together with perseverance, and turn the cracks into places where the light of hope can shine through. When facing failure, the most terrifying thing is not losing an opportunity, a job, or a dream. The most terrifying thing is losing faith in ourselves. A person can fail 10 or 100 times, but they only truly lose when they decide to give up on standing up once more. Accept failure as an inevitable part of the journey of growth. Do not let dark days make you forget that dawn always waits behind the horizon. Every fall is a lesson, every scar is a story, and every triumph over adversity is proof that you are stronger than you ever thought. We may encounter many failures in life, but we must not allow failure to define who we are. The most painful moments are often the ones that open the door to discovering our inner strength. After a fierce storm, not only is the sky clearer, but the person who emerges from the storm has also become deeper, more resilient, and more worthy of the heights that lie ahead. The most powerful control we can achieve is self-control. Chris Page. Throughout life, we spend a great deal of time trying to control the world around us. We want to control circumstances, have everything go our way, and want others to understand us, love us, and act exactly as we expect. But the more we try to grasp things beyond our reach, the more easily we fall into disappointment, fatigue, and insecurity. Because the outside world is like a constantly flowing river, changing minute by minute, and no one can make it stop just for their own wishes. Yet, amidst countless uncontrollable things, we still possess a sacred ground that no one can violate without our permission: our mind, our attitude, and the way we choose to react to any circumstance. A storm can shake the branches outside, but it cannot uproot a tree whose roots anchor deep in the earth. In the same way, life's difficulties may test us, but they cannot defeat a soul that knows how to master itself. Self-control does not mean suppressing all emotions or becoming a cold person incapable of grief. True strength lies in the ability to recognize emotions, understanding anger, before it turns into words that hurt others, recognizing fear before it makes us abandon our dreams, and understanding fleeting desires before they lead us down the wrong path. A person can conquer the highest mountains, build mighty empires, or possess power that makes thousands bow down. But if they cannot conquer anger, greed, laziness, or negative thoughts within, they remain merely a servant, controlled by the shadows of their own soul. The most glorious victory is not defeating others, but conquering the weak version of oneself yesterday. Life is always full of challenges, criticisms, failures, and unforeseen events. We cannot stop the rain from falling, but we can bring an umbrella. We cannot control the wind's direction, but we can adjust the sails to continue the journey. Those who master themselves understand that strength lies not in forcing the world to change for them, but in keeping calm when the world is in chaos. Discipline in small matters is the foundation of strength in great ones. Saying no to procrastination once, controlling anger once, choosing to keep trying when wanting to give up. Once these small victories are like bricks, building a solid inner fortress. Over time, we not only become stronger, but also achieve the greatest freedom. Freedom from the dominance of negative emotions and habits that pull us down. True strength lies not in hands that can control others, but in a heart and mind that can direct themselves. For the greatest victor is not one who has never faced temptation, anger, or fear, but one who learns every day to face, understand, and overcome their inner limits. When you master yourself, you do not just change how you live, you change how you see the world. And when the mind becomes peaceful, no external storm can easily sweep you away. This place is great when you only have hope, not expectations. Danny Boyle. Life is a journey full of surprises. There are days when the sky is clear, with gentle sunlight illuminating every step. But there are also days when dark clouds roll in, bringing unpredicted rain. What differentiates a serene soul from a disappointed heart is not always external circumstances, but how we prepare ourselves for what is to come. Hope and expectation may have only a tiny distinction in words, but they represent two completely different worlds within the human soul. Hope is like sowing a seed into the soil of tomorrow. We nurture it with faith, patience, and effort, while accepting that nature has its own laws. If the flower blooms, we are grateful for its beauty. If a storm comes, we learn to sow and plant anew. In contrast, expectation is often an invisible contract we silently sign with life and those around us. We expect others to behave as we want, plans to unfold perfectly, and our efforts to always receive worthy rewards. And when reality does not follow the script we wrote, disappointment arrives like an uninvited guest, bringing anger, hurt, and a sense of injustice. In truth, suffering often comes not from what happens, but from the gap between reality and the expectations we hold. A glass does not disappoint us because it breaks. What hurts us is our belief that it should last forever. A person does not always hurt us because they change. What weighs heavily on the heart is our belief that they would forever remain as we imagined. This does not mean we must live without dreams or give up beautiful aspirations. A life without hope is like a boat drifting in the ocean without a beacon from the harbor. Hope gives us the drive to move forward, helping us see the light even in the darkest hours. But hope also teaches us the art of letting go, accepting that not everything we desire belongs to us. It is about trying our best without letting our happiness depend entirely on the outcome. It is about loving wholeheartedly without forcing others to respond the way we want. It is about pursuing goals with passion, while remaining calm enough to accept other paths life opens up. When you replace expectation with hope, you begin to perceive the world through gentler eyes. Every good thing that happens becomes a gift rather than an entitlement. Every challenge that arises becomes a lesson rather than a punishment. You no longer live under the stress of controlling everything, but learn to flow with the natural course of life. And perhaps the secret to a serene life is not getting everything we want, but appreciating what life gives us. For this world is truly beautiful when our hearts can hope for good things, without binding our happiness to expectations that must be met. When you start to believe that you deserve a better life, everything changes. There are moments in life when what holds us back is not difficult circumstances, lack of resources, or external barriers, but the invisible limits created by our own thoughts. We often accept staying in places that cause us pain, maintain habits that harm our future, or continue living an unhappy life simply because, deep down, we believe we do not deserve anything better. Just like a garden, the thoughts you sow daily will gradually grow into forests of belief. If you constantly sow seeds of self-doubt, fear, and inadequacy, you will view the world through a dusty window where every opportunity seems distant and every dream seems out of reach. But when you start to sow seeds of self-respect, belief, and self-love, the entire garden of your soul will bloom in ways you never imagined before. Believing you deserve a better life is not arrogance, nor is it the illusion that everything will effortlessly come to you. It is the awakening of a person realizing their inherent worth. It is the moment you stop tolerating hurtful relationships, stop staying in environments that drain your peace, and stop telling yourself someday, while time quietly slips away. Change always begins with a small decision in the mind. Someone who once feared failure begins to dare to try something new. Someone who once doubted their abilities begins to learn a new skill. Someone who once tolerated negativity begins to set boundaries to protect their peace. These steps may be as small as water droplets falling on stone, but over time, perseverance will bring about the deepest transformations. Life often mirrors how we view ourselves. When you believe you only deserve small things, you will hesitate to approach larger doors. When you think your voice has no value, you will remain silent before opportunities that could change your life. But when you realize you also have the right to be happy, to be loved, to grow, and to pursue your own dreams, you will begin to act in a completely different way. There will be days when the journey of change becomes difficult. Old habits, familiar fears, and doubts in your mind will try to pull you back to the person you were yesterday. But remember, a butterfly cannot fly if it remains afraid to leave its cocoon. Growth always demands the courage to step out of your comfort zone and embrace the challenging process of metamorphosis. Every new dawn is a reminder that life always gives us the chance to rewrite our own story. You cannot change past chapters, but you can decide how to write the pages ahead. And that new chapter begins with a simple, yet incredibly powerful belief. I deserve a better life, and I am responsible for making it a reality. When that belief is lit in your soul, your choices will change, your actions will change, and ultimately, your whole life will transform in the direction you courageously chose. For the greatest journeys do not begin with a physical step, but with the moment we decide to believe in our own worth. You have the ability to make your life meaningful. Ignore the dissenting voices. In life, perhaps one of the hardest battles is not fighting external obstacles, but maintaining your inner voice amidst countless sounds of doubt, judgment, and criticism. The world will always have those who believe in your potential, but there will also always be those who doubt you. If you let every remark steer your life, you will forever walk paths drawn by others, never discovering the road your heart truly wants to follow. Every person is born with their own flame, a talent, a dream, and an irreplaceable value. Yet many spend years watching that flame fade away because of winds named "you can't," "you are not good enough," or "that's unrealistic." These words are like dark clouds obscuring the sky of the mind, making us forget that behind the clouds, the sun still shines. In truth, the words of others only have power when we give it to them. A stone thrown into a lake can create ripples, but it cannot drain the ocean. Similarly, criticisms may sadden you for a moment, but they have no right to decide your worth or limit your future. Those who understand themselves know how to listen to feedback that helps them grow, yet are wise enough to tune out noise meant only to sow doubt and fear. A meaningful life is not measured by how many people you please, but by how true you are to yourself. Some spend their entire lives chasing the approval of others, trying to change themselves to be liked, accepted, and praised. But when you live based on the eyes of others, your happiness will always remain in their hands. On days they praise you, you feel worthy. On days they criticize you, you doubt yourself. True strength emerges when you realize that you are the author of your own life story. You may not control what others think of you, but you can control how you react to those thoughts. You may not make everyone believe in your dream, but as long as you do not give up that belief, you still have the chance to make it a reality. Look at a tall tree in the forest. It does not keep reaching up just because someone praises its beauty, nor does it stop growing because someone says it cannot reach the sky. It quietly digs its roots deeper, absorbs light, endures storm seasons, and continues to grow day by day. It is the same for us. True maturity does not come from global recognition, but from continuing to press forward even when no one is applauding. There will be times when the path you choose is lonely. There will be days when you wonder if you are going in the right direction. Negative voices will follow you like shadows, tracing every step. But remember, even the most precious diamonds were once lumps of coal deep in the earth, enduring immense pressure before they could shine. Protect your dream like protecting a flame in the dark night. Listen to valuable advice. Learn from sincere feedback, but do not let the doubt of others become a prison that confines your potential. You have enough strength, capability, and time to build a meaningful life in your own way. For in the end, what matters most is not what the world said about you, but what you did with the precious gift of life. When you courageously walk your own path, despite the surrounding noise, you will realize that the greatest strength always lies within you. I believe that every human has a finite number of heartbeats. I don't intend to waste any of mine. Neil Armstrong. We often live as though we have countless tomorrows. We postpone our dreams to a more suitable time, wait for a more perfect opportunity, and promise ourselves that someday we will start living the life we always wanted. But the quiet and profoundly deep truth is that none of us knows exactly how many times we have left to watch the sunrise, how many afternoons to feel a cool breeze, or how many moments to hear the laughter of our loved ones. Every heartbeat inside our chest is not only a sign of life, but also like a grain of sand falling through the hourglass of time. Once a grain of sand falls, it can never return. A minute that has passed cannot be bought back with wealth, power, or regret. Therefore, the most precious gift life bestows upon us is not wealth, fame, or status, but time and asset that both rich and poor possess in equal measure each day. Realizing that life is finite is not meant to make us afraid, but to awaken us. A person asleep in meaningless routines will not recognize the beauty of a new day. They might spend hours nurturing anger, envying the success of others, or sinking into worries about things that have never happened. They let negative emotions become silent thieves, taking away precious heartbeats without bringing any value in return. Living a worthy life does not mean constantly chasing grand achievements or keeping ourselves busy to the point of exhaustion. Sometimes, a meaningful life is built from simple things: a sincere thank you, a meal with family, a book that changes the way we think, courageously pursuing what we love, or a moment of sitting quietly and truly feeling that we are alive. Many spend their entire lives preparing for the future, but forget the present. They are like someone who stores seeds in a precious box, hoping for a brilliant garden in the future, yet never dares to sow them into the ground. Looking back, one day, they realize they possess many plans, but too few cherished memories. Time never stops to wait for anyone. Rivers do not flow backward. Fallen leaves cannot return to their original green, and youth, once gone, exists only in memories. Our greatest wisdom lies not in trying to extend time, but in learning to make every moment count. Use your heartbeats to love more instead of holding grudges, to learn more instead of being complacent, to take action more instead of procrastinating, and to forgive more instead of carrying the burdens of the past. Dare to try what makes your soul stir. Dare to step beyond self-imposed limits, and dare to live true to the person you wish to become. One day, looking back on the journey, what will bring us peace is not the number of years we existed, but how we filled those years. For life is not measured by the number of times our heart beats, but by the moments that make our heart truly feel alive. Every heartbeat is a silent reminder that our time is finite. And when we understand the value of that finitude, we will no longer want to waste life on trivial, meaningless things. We will choose to live more deeply, love more sincerely, act more courageously, and leave beautiful marks before the final heartbeat closes the symphony of life. The first step toward success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself. Mark Caine. So many people spend their entire lives blaming their circumstances. They say they were born into a family without means, grew up in an environment lacking opportunities, lived among unsupportive people, or faced limits set by life. Gradually, these reasons become invisible threads binding the mind, leading them to believe their fate is decided by where they started rather than where they choose to go. But the history of great individuals always proves otherwise. Circumstances can affect us, but they have no right to control us. A tiny seed may be buried under hard, dark soil, but in that very compression, it finds the strength to break its shell, reach for the light, and grow into a powerful tree. In the same way, adversity is not always a wall blocking our path. Sometimes, it is the resistance that makes our wings stronger. Becoming a slave to your environment is not always about being imprisoned in difficult conditions. Sometimes, the largest prison exists in our thoughts. It is when we accept the limiting beliefs imposed by others. You are not smart enough. You were not born with the talent, or with your family background. You cannot succeed. Those words are like invisible cages trapping an eagle, making it forget that its wings were made to soar over high mountains, not to walk on the ground forever. The first step to changing your life is not changing the world around you, but changing how you perceive yourself. A person can live in poverty, yet nurture a wealthy mindset. A person can grow up surrounded by doubt, yet learn to believe in their own potential. A person can be surrounded by negativity, yet choose to keep their soul filled with hope. We are like a ship in the middle of a vast ocean. We cannot control the winds that blow, nor can we stop the fierce waves from rising. But a skilled sailor does not sit and weep because of the storm. They learn to adjust the sails, change direction, and use the very power of the wind to guide the ship to the desired shore. Life is the same. Success does not belong to those with perfect conditions, but to those who know how to carve a path from the conditions they have. Refusing to be a slave to your environment does not mean denying real difficulties or underestimating injustices in life. It is the realization that, although circumstances may limit our starting point, they are not allowed to decide our destination. You may not choose where you are born, but you can choose how you live. You may not control every event that occurs, but you can control your attitude, effort, and determination in the face of those events. Every major change in human history begins with a courageous thought. I will not let what exists dictate what I can become. The moment you stop viewing circumstances as an excuse and start seeing them as challenges to overcome, you have set foot on the path of growth and success. Remember, a lump of coal deep in the earth does not choose its birthplace, but under pressure and time, it can transform into a sparkling diamond. The same is true for us. Our greatest strength lies not in where we stand today, but in our determination of where we will go tomorrow. For true success begins the moment you reclaim ownership of your life, break the invisible chains of circumstance, and courageously walk the path of your own making. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan. We often tend to see failure as an end point, a stumble, a mistake, a rejection. All are easily interpreted as, I am not good enough, I do not fit in, or I will never make it. But the truth goes much deeper than those hasty conclusions. Failure is not a final verdict on human capacity, but an inevitable part of the growth process. Just as darkness is inseparable from light, no one can see the stability of a building without knowing how many tests it endured, how much pressure it withstood, and how many times its foundation was adjusted. It is the same with us. Successful people are not those who have never failed, but those who have failed many times, yet instead of stopping, learned to stand up in a different way. Every failure is a moment the world forces us to look within. It shatters blind confidence, eliminates erroneous methods, and forces us to face the truth that we still need to learn, change, and adapt. If success is the mountaintop, then failures are the slippery slopes and rugged paths that make our feet steadier with each step. There is an interesting paradox in our development. Those who have never failed are often more fragile under pressure, while those who have experienced many failures possess greater resilience because they understand that failure does not destroy us. It only teaches us how to live more powerfully. Every stumble is not an end, but a reminder that something still needs adjustment, that a better direction is waiting to be discovered. Success does not come from perfect beginnings, but from perseverance through that imperfect process. A person may fail 10, 20, or even hundreds of times, but if they do not stop, each failure becomes a brick building the foundation of future success. What matters is not how many times you fall, but what you learn after each fall. There are no shortcuts to maturity. Every skill, every achievement, and every major step forward is bought with time, effort, and many mistakes. Failure is like a stern teacher. It does not offer comforting words or immediate rewards, but it forces us to change. It teaches us patience when things do not go as planned, humility when success has not arrived, and resilience when standing on the thin line between giving up and pushing forward. And that is precisely where character is forged. Not by moments of brilliant victory, but by how we respond after failures that seem impossible to rise from. Ultimate success is not the absence of failure, but the ability to transform failure into raw material for growth. Looking back on their journey, successful people do not deny their past failures. They understand that those very stumbles refined them into a stronger, deeper, and more deserving version of who they are today. Develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. Dale Carnegie. We often hope to reach success along a path that is straight, short, and as thornless as possible. We long for quick results, complete victories, and a mistake-free journey. But the reality of life is built on another law. No success is born without passing through lands of failure, discouragement, and trial. Failure is not a stopping point, but a sign that we are entering the zone of growth. It is like a cold mirror reflecting the mistakes we do not want to see, yet must face. When a plan fails, or when an effort does not bring expected results, it does not mean we are useless. It means we are learning how to do better. Discouragement often sets in immediately after failure. It is the moment we begin to doubt ourselves, questioning the value of our efforts and the future ahead. Yet, within that seemingly weak state, a vital opportunity is forged, the opportunity to choose. We can either let discouragement drag us backward, or use it as a pause to reflect, adjust, and keep moving forward. Our life is like climbing a high mountain. No one can conquer the summit in a single step. Each slip is a chance to better understand the terrain ahead. Each moment of exhaustion is a lesson in how to pace ourselves. And each desire to give up is a test of our perseverance. It is on the steep slopes, slippery rocks, and through the fog that we grow strongest. Failure teaches us humility. It reminds us that not every plan is perfect. Not every effort is rewarded instantly, and not every road is as easy as we imagined. But at the same time, it bestows upon us a precious gift: experience. Experience cannot be bought with advice, nor can it be fully learned through theory. It is formed only through stumbling and standing back up. Discouragement, viewed correctly, is not an enemy, but a warning signal. It tells us that we are surpassing our old limits, stepping into unfamiliar territory, and at that very boundary, change begins to take shape. A person only truly matures when they learn to keep going, even when their feelings urge them to stop. Success does not come from avoiding failure, but from turning failure into data for progress. Every mistake is a new piece of information. Every discouragement is an opportunity to understand our inner self better. And when those pieces are connected, they form a complete picture of growth. There is no shortcut to sustainable success, but there is a sure path, the path that goes through failure, through discouragement, and keeps going. And it is the perseverance in our seemingly weakest moments that builds our most enduring strength. Success is not about never failing, but about not allowing failure to decide your stopping point. The whole secret of a successful life is to find out what is one's destiny to do, and then do it. Henry Ford. We may live for many years, but not everyone truly lives. Some exist within the flow of time, like leaves drifting on water, going anywhere, as long as they do not sink. They work, earn money, and repeat familiar habits. Yet, deep down, an unnamed emptiness always lingers. That is when life lacks a core element, a mission. A mission is not a luxury reserved for special people. It is the intersection of ability, passion, and meaning that every person carries within, though it may be obscured by pressure, fear, or the ambiguity of life. Like a compass in a deep forest, a mission does not pave the path, but it shows us which direction to head when everything around us is in chaos. Finding our mission is not a sudden moment of sudden revelation, but a journey of self-discovery. Sometimes it begins with very small things: a feeling of passion when doing something, an inexplicable curiosity, or a pain in society we wish to heal. Over time, these pieces connect, painting a clearer picture of the person we were born to become. But finding your mission is only the first step. What matters more is committing to it. For many realize what they want to do, yet stop at the boundary of fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough, or fear of leaving familiar safety. And that hesitation keeps their mission as a beautiful idea that never becomes reality. Committing to a mission means walking, even when the path is not yet clear. It means accepting mistakes as an inevitable part of growth. It means understanding that not every effort yields immediate results, but every step builds the foundation for the future. Like a mountain climber, they do not see the entire route to the peak, but they believe in every step they take. A successful life is measured not only by external achievements like wealth, fame, or status, but also by how closely you live in alignment with your true self. When we live aligned with our mission, work is no longer a burden, but a form of self-expression. Effort is no longer forced, but becomes a natural flow of passion and meaning. When we live far from our mission, even if we achieve great external success, we easily feel weary and disoriented. For success devoid of meaning is like a house built on sand. It may stand tall, but lacks an internal foundation. Committing to your mission does not guarantee an easy path, but it guarantees a meaningful life. And along the long journey of life, meaning is what keeps us walking, even when everything becomes difficult. Success is not just about getting what we want, but about becoming the person we were born to be.